Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Welcome to another scene for almost forgot what venue this was. Living Water Darkness, Vampire Venue, New York. And is in his workshop, or the room that has been fashioned as a workshop for him. And he has sent word down the grapevine for Carmen to come and join him there. And that's how we start the scene.
Carmen will knock on the door of the workshop.
Mm-hmm. Just a moment while I make my final 2 rolls.
Yeah.
Spending willpower on this last roll.
Please get all the 10s. Yay!
When you spend a willpower, you really don't need to. It's 4 successes because you've got a specialization in woodcraft. There's a knock on the door, and he says, "Enter."
And Carmen will enter. She's wearing a normal blue dress, like neither too slutty, neither too it's a normal everyday dress.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
I don't know much about dresses, obviously.
As soon as you said she was wearing a blue dress, I could picture it instantly because of my amazing imagination.
Awesomeness, good.
Arthur sat at this sort of bench desk thing that he's made himself. He's taken his jacket off. He's wearing like a tweed waistcoat with a white shirt, and he's got these sort of glasses on that you've seen him wear before that he uses to magnify things when he is making them. And he looks up and he says, Carmen, un momento, casi termino.
She smiles and she smiles happily, as her player didn't understand anything but un momento, and then he
says 1 minute, I'm almost finished.
Okay, she smiles and nods, waiting for him as she looks at him with eyes that she hasn't really looked at anyone with since before the embrace.
He's got her crossbow in the block, and he's very carefully sort of putting the finishing touches on it. He's very slowly sanding the curves of the edge of the hilt. And he does that. He looks at it, inspects it to make sure it's perfect, and it is pretty perfect, to be honest. This is a 22 odd success thing, and he examines it a few more times. Seems to be a little bit of a perfectionist, and then he takes it out of the block and blows on it to blow the sawdust off, and looks at, puts his glasses on top of his head and smiles at her. How are you?
I'm very well, she says, and then she looks at the crossbow, and I'm almost like what is it you say, a kid on Christmas?
Yes. Well, you've come just at the right time. I've just finished your new toy.
She smiles. It is much better than a doll, she says.
He sort of picks it up and holds it. There's a on one of the other little tables near him. There's a set of bolts, wooden bolts, and he goes over to them and loads them into the crossbow. Well, actually, no, he doesn't. He starts to load them into the crossbow. Then he comes over to Carmen and sort of. How tall is Carmen, by the way?
I don't think I established that. I think she's.
Denise Richards is very, very short, is she? I imagine she's about 5'6", 5'7".
I'm not exactly sure how much that is, but I will take a look at my character sheet and see if I actually managed to establish it in the physical appearance thing. No, I did not. Let's say she's around 165 to 170 centimeters, something in that range.
Well, I have no idea what that means, but I will just guess. I think that's a bit shorter than me. So I'm 5'8". So.
Give me a moment. I will.
Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's not important. It's not so important when you look it up.
Okay.
It's just sort of establishing that Arthur does need to bend down somewhat to to reach her because he's 6'5".
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know.
Stephen Fry is 6'5".
Okay, yeah, I don't know.
And very tall.
I know that anything above 6 feet is tall. So
Yeah, he's sort of like the Hound sort of height. He bends down and slightly and sort of.
Oh fuck! I gotta take this call. Sorry.
All right.
Hi, Fleming. Okay, ja. Beklager, ja. Det kan jeg ikke så gøre så meget ved. Ja. Ja, lidt senere, der har jeg stadig alligevel tænkt mig at kigge dagsordenen igennem, og så komme med nogle inputs til det, som jeg kan komme ind til med inputs med, og så vil jeg svare på det andet samtidig. Ja. Godt. Jo tak, og hils de andre, ikke også? Godt. Hej. Oh. And Mark apparently turned off.
So Mark forgot to mute himself.
Yeah, and turned off his camera instead of his mute.
So that Carmen has a phone call.
Yeah, sorry.
As Arthur's reaching over to get the bolts, she had a phone call. And he waits for her to finish on the phone call before he leans down and shows her how to load the bolts.
She observes enthusiastically.
He sort of indicates for her to take it, take the weapon.
She does, and feels it in her hands.
And he stands behind her, and he shows her how to pull the string, sort of manually, because he's not sure whether she would learn. He's pretty certain, because considering the language barrier, she would probably better learn practically rather than him explaining it to her.
Mm.
So he stands behind her and he helps her. He guides her to sort of how to use the bolt, how to pull the string.
Mm.
And he says, "Do you want to try it? Aim it over there."
She smiles and nods eagerly, like a kid being asked if he wants to try his new toy. So she heads over to the place where he indicated.
It's just a wall with it's not concrete. It's just got like another sort of like plasterboard or something, so that you can actually fire into it.
Yeah.
And to fire it, you need to make a Dex firearms roll.
That should be a fairly decent dice pool. Dex firearms, Dex 4, firearms 3. Yep.
You need to put your camera on to roll it, unless you want me to do it.
I do. Just a second. If I can get my dice stream to work, that is.
Couple of successes.
Yeah, 2 successes.
Yeah, you fire it and it goes. It fires at such a speed that you could tell that it would do quite a bit of damage if you fired it at someone's head, for example. And you also know if you fired it at someone's heart, it would stake them. Have a good chance of staking them.
She smiles and looks almost giddy as she makes a very much approving sound. Yes. And then says something like "awesome" in Spanish, which I don't know what it's called.
Arthur smiles broadly.
And she looks up at him and says, "Gracias, señor Brennan." And then she steps up on her tiptoes and kisses his cheek.
He smiles and he just sort of very lightly puts his hand on the side of her head, on her hair gently, and says, "It's my pleasure."
And she takes it. Is there like a permanent marker or anything to draw with?
Yeah, there's pens and markers and things like that.
Sweet. She goes over to and picks up a marker and then gives Arthur "May I look?"
He raises a brow, as if wondering what she's gonna do.
She takes it and then she walks over to to the. She wait a minute. Does she do that? Because that's kind of a bitch to get off the wall.
We're living in a sewer. I don't think anyone's going to mind.
Okay, there's that. So she,
As long as you don't like fire it at the pipes or something stupid.
Yeah, no, she's insane. She's not dumb. So she finds a part of the wall that is like not essential to anything, and she draws the outline of a person, like from head to feet, so to speak. And she reloads the crossbow, and then she aims at the thing's head. And actually gets, is it difficulty 7 or 8?
It's 8.
So she gets one success.
Nice headshot.
She nods again and appreciatively, and she doesn't fire again because she doesn't want to waste too many balls. But she
well, they're reusable. That's the point.
Oh yeah, she go. Then she just goes over and picks them out of the wall, and
they're reusable and very easy to make.
Yeah. And she smiles at Arthur and says, "This will come in very, very, very handy, Señor Branwen. Muchas gracias."
Well, you're certainly proficient with it. I dare not stand in your way in the future.
You have nothing to fear. You have been very good to me, and I thank you.
He smiles. He sort of leans on the edge of his desk slightly, and looks down at the various papers on it with all his other projects. Well, one must be able to do something to feel useful.
She looks at him and then looks at the project, and I'm guessing that I don't even want to roll for it. She doesn't understand anything it's about, but she just looks at him and says, "You have been more than useful, Señor Branwen. You have been exceptionally much. You have been very much an asset to not just me, but to this whole city. Even more than some who like bluster a lot more than do anything."
You speak very highly of me, but I'm but a small cog in this great big wheel. We have Lucius and Isaac and the war coterie like yourself to thank for our many successes.
And she nods, and I stand by that decision. She says, "I am much more of a fighter than I am anything else. I also recognize that that without people behind the front, the soldiers would be what is it in they say in America, in deep shit."
He laughs. He chuckles, and he just yes. Well, as much as I would be selfish and remiss in wanting you in my coterie, I realise that your rightful place is within the war coterie.
She smiles and nods. "But we are all we all serve the tower," she says, and without people to make, as I said, without people to arm the soldiers could not fight. And if no one else appreciates you for it, I certainly do.
He sort of gives her a kind of affectionate look.
Mm.
And then he says, "Later on, dear, I think that we should. There's a new girl, Kate. I know you might have seen her. I think you two might get along."
She smiles. As long as and as much as people of our kind can get along, she grins and then she nods. I would be happy to join you.
She's somewhat of a warrior woman herself.
Ah, and Chica, I like her already.
And quite keen to get out there and destroy Sabat. So I think you two would make a good team.
Even better, Carmen grins.
She's a little bit on the defensive side. But I understand that her background was not pleasant.
I can certainly relate to that.
I fear I might have, I don't know, made her feel a little bit uncomfortable when first we met.
Oh,
But, I don't know whether
what happened?
I don't know whether she's she was a bit uncomfortable with me mentioning that I was raised by my sire. I presume it might be a sore point if her sire abandoned her.
Yeah, she nods. Maybe. I only had a year or so with under my sire's teachings before I had to flee, so I can relate to that a bit.
Well, if I can bring you and her and dear Nikki together, then perhaps we can make a little. He just sort of does a motion where he says, I don't know, perhaps I'm overstepping my mark, but I feel that you three would work well together, and I would be remiss not to support you.
She smiles. A true gentleman, as always.
Well,
there are not many left of your kind, Mr. Branwen, Senor Branwen, and that is a shame.
you know, you may call me Arthur if you wish.
She smiles and nods. Arthur.
Although I do. Sometimes I like the sound of Professor Branwen, but it's only because I miss it. I don't get to teach much these days.
No.
Perhaps that's why I long so much to help those that are new to our society.
You know, that is our fortune, Mr. Arthur. She smiles.
He chuckles at her, still going to call him formally.
That is, I am most grateful. She says, just gesturing to the crossbow. I can put this to very good use, I think.
I hope so, and I hope that you'll be careful.
She looks at him and says, I'm always careful," she says, and then with a bit of a smirk and a grin on her face. But you also cannot fight if you do not go to the battlefield.
True enough. He reaches for his gun, which is hung up on the wall. Takes it out, spins the barrel. It's not loaded. He just sort of plays with it. He spins the barrel, and it makes a very pleasing sort of whir then click sound when he does it. I dare say I'll be using this in nights to come.
She nods and says, "Hopefully it will. Hopefully, us in the unit can take the brunt of the combat. That is what we are best at."
Well, I wouldn't let you fight alone.
True enough, she says. We all protect the tower when we must.
He gets a little bit of a devilish look on his face, like he was going to say something cheeky, but doesn't.
She looks at him somewhat like puzzled, but also amused by that look on his face. Okay.
Oh, nothing. I was just thinking about Miss O'Connor, Gwen, when we fought the Sabbat, and how she was concerned about getting blood on her dress.
She grins. That is Miss Connor. She is Toreador, yes?
No, she is Ventru. But she's a woman of particular wealth and taste.
Well, you cannot. What do you say? You cannot break an omelette without making eggs.
Yes, I do feel that fashion has gone sadly out the window since we've been in this place, and the state of my suit's not properly pressed. But what can you do? We almost suffer in times of war.
She knows.
You can tell he's being slightly sarcastic, like making fun of himself.
Yeah, she would get that, and she says, "Z, think it is a matter of priorities right now. She says, and well, we can go to the dry cleaners after we have driven these bastards from our home.
Yes. He looks at her for a moment, and then he stands up and goes over and he'll kiss her hand and say, "I'm glad that you liked your gift."
She smiles widely and somewhat not shyly, but somewhat like, I think flustered is the right term. And doesn't quite know what to do with herself. I really do, she says, and gracias, Arthur. And then she kisses him on the other cheek before she looks at him with a look that says that if he that she is not entirely disinterested in him. Let's just say, if I put it like that.
He smiles. He will do a. Oh no! Actually, I'm going to do a charisma one because my charisma's better.
Charisma seduction.
No, it's charisma subterfuge.
Oh yeah, charisma
Charisma performance.
Yeah. Wow.
And he says, "Well, each of my days is warmed by your presence."
And her eyes will glow with joy, and then she there will be a little bit of an infatuated schoolgirl look about her at the moment, as she doesn't quite know what to do with herself. And after like a few moments, she'll be like, "Oh, I will, thank you." She says, and then she goes on. I will leave you to your work, but do feel free to call me again.
Well, in the next couple of nights, hopefully tonight, if the fates permit, I will gather you three, and we can have a nice. Maybe I could take you out for the evening, or we can do something a bit different.
I would like that, she says, looking like someone who's just been asked out on a date.
I shouldn't really give specialist attention, but I will try and divide my time equally, and make sure you all get to know each other as well. I don't feel that some people are being catered for because of the snobbery of our beloved leaders.
She doesn't say anything, but the look on her face tells her that she does not quite disagree with that.
And he gives her a little sort of bow nod. He says, "Until next time, then."
She smiles, and then she leaves. She takes her crossbow and the few bolts that was made, and then she leaves his workshop. Looking as she exits the door, she looks over her shoulder and gives him a wink.
You see him sort of leaning. As she looks back, you see him sort of leaning in the doorway with his pipe, looking like a smug bastard. And that will be the moment we end the scene. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. Until next time.
Praise the tower.